Hello, everyone. I was going to say good evening, but I know it's still afternoon. It feels like evening to me, though. Kind of got an early start today. It looks like we have a few people on the live stream. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of doing a sound check, letting me know if I'm coming through clear, if you're able to hear me. Also, if you want to introduce yourself and where you're from, that would be awesome. All right. Yeah, this live is a lot later in the day than what I would normally do them. All right. So we'll give it Ravina. Well, hello. Hi, Teresa. All right. So good to see both of you. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right, perfect. So I don't want to delay any longer. I have a special guest on with me tonight or today. But real quick, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. So my channel, I believe I've shared this with you all, but has been rebranded. It was Happy Girl Alaska, and it is now Life After 50 with Terree. I am Terree. And tonight I have a guest by the name of Winsome Alexander joining me. I'm super excited to have her here. Winsome and I met on the Exodus Summit meetup trip in Morocco. And I would say we just kind of had a brief chat, in passing. But I got a really good feel for her. Like her energy was very positive and upbeat. And so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and bring her on, give her a real brief introduction, see if she has anything she wants to add on, and then we will get into the share. So give me just a second here, and I will bring Winsome on. All right, Winsome, let me switch it up a little bit. All right, there you go. Hi, Winsome, how are you?
I am wonderful, wonderful. I'm a little nervous, I'll admit. It's different being on the other side of the camera. So, yeah. So bear with
Well,
me.
you know what? Well, Winsome, let me be honest with you. I'm a little rusty, right? So the last time I was on a live stream was when when you interviewed me, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I haven't been on a Zoom because I haven't been working. I've been on sabbatical. So being on camera, it's a little bit awkward for me too, but we will get through it together.
We'll get through it.
Okay. Awesome. So Winsome, as I mentioned, you and we crossed paths while we were on that trip in Morocco. And I remember just thinking, this lady is fabulous. You were walking around with your tripod and your camera and just vlogging. And I was just like, oh my gosh, your personality to me is so big. And so I didn't know if we were going to have a chance to connect after the trip. I mean, I know that we're both part of the Exodus Summit group and, we're on Facebook and all of that stuff. But I didn't know we were going to connect. But you reached out to me and
Yes.
asked if I would participate. What did you call it? Your inaugural live stream on your YouTube channel.
Well,
And I was just so excited.
the moment I met you in Marrakesh, I wanted to connect with you. So that it was an
Oh,
instant attraction. And I said, I want her in my life. Mm-hmm.
aw, excellent. And I mean, we've had conversations since then, y'all, leading up to and then a few after the interview. So, I mean, this is awesome. This is great. I think this is the start of a wonderful relationship. So, you're not going to be able to get rid of me, just so you know, Winsome.
Not
Okay.
looking for that at all.
All right, perfect. So before we get started, I'm going to take a look at the comments real quick, at the comments to see if anybody has any questions. And Winsome, let me ask you, what is your preference? If people have questions while you're speaking, do you want to answer them then and there, or would you rather we get through the things that we're going to talk about and then come back to the questions? What is your preference?
I prefer the questions as we go because I
Perfect.
can stray off topic and the questions will help bring me back.
Okay. I got you. I got you. And don't worry, I'm going to monitor the chat,
Okay.
go through the conversation. So I got you there. Okay. So real quick, let me do some welcomes here. Teresa, thank you so much for
Oh, look at
tuning in.
Teresa.
I know. She looks so pretty. All right, Ravina, welcome, welcome. Let's see here. B. Harris. Hello, everyone. Belinda from Atlanta. Welcome. So happy to have you here. Let's see here. Quissy P, I think is how you pronounce it. Welcome. First time on a live. So glad to have you. And Ravina, let's see your question. Is she from Barbados? I
She's
hear
from
an
Jamaica.
accent. She's
She's
from
from Jamaica.
Jamaica. Yes. And I tell you what, I'm telling you, I love your accent, Winsome. I really do.
I am not
Yes.
even aware, of course, I'm not aware that I have an accent. Yeah, so I'm just talking. But when I get comfortable, I know it comes out. It comes out.
Mm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to read your bio real quick, Winsome.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Winsome is an author, speaker, advocate for adult survivors of childhood trauma and self-empowerment mentor. She's the former founder and publisher of Outspoken Magazine, the voice for adult survivors of child abuse. She is a former rape and suicide crisis hotline counselor. She has organized conferences and symposiums for survivors of trauma and so much more. And she just launched a new show on YouTube called Big Up Yourself. And I want to get into the conversation about your channel because I love the premise behind it. You know, again, it's so positive and uplifting because, and I'll let you speak to that, Winsome, right? So that is the bio. Winsome, did you have anything else that you wanted to add about yourself? And then we can talk about, well, you know what? Is there anything that I left out of the bio? And if not, then we can get right into the questions.
No, you covered it pretty well. Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And let's see here. Quissy P says your name is beautiful. It really is, Winsome. I've never met another Winsome. I've never heard the name before.
You know, it's a common name in Jamaica. If you go to Jamaica and say Winsome, everybody will be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a Winsome around every corner. Very common. And I didn't like it when I was growing up because I thought it was kind of like a big common name for a little girl. But when I got here to the United States, every other person I meet go crazy about my name. And so now I love it.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful name. And I love unique names. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right. So, what I want to do first is, if you don't mind sharing, Winsome, what is your real age? Because you know this channel is life after 50, right?
Yes.
And
Yes,
so
it
I'm
is.
on my way to 50. I'm celebrating on my way there. And there's so many amazing people over the age of 50. So would you mind sharing, Winsome?
And my life began in my 50s. I am 2 years away from being 60. And I'm going kicking and screaming. I'm not like you. I'm and
But
screaming.
Winsome, you are beautiful.
God be
I would
praised.
never have put that age on you. Never, ever.
Yeah. 50. What
Hmm.
is it? 57 in October. I'll be 58. Yeah. And
Wow.
it's great because I'm alive and my life is going great and everything, but I feel like I want more time. Like I just
Oh,
started. I want more time. I am not
well,
ready for 57.
do you feel like turning 50 was a milestone for you? Did you feel
I
that way?
I was not particularly looking forward to turning 50. And part of that reason was because of where I was in my life, right? But when I say that I started living at in my 50s, it's like literally true. At about age 52 is when things finally started kicking off for me in my life. And amazing things have been happening since then. So no, I did not go into being 50 like, oh yay, 50. Mm-mm. It wasn't like that at all. And let me tell you something. When I turned 55, I was cruising along like at 54, okay, okay. But when I turned 55, I freaked out.
Oh, oh
Oh my
wow.
God, I can't believe this. No, I didn't like turning 55, but now I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm getting used to
Okay,
being in my
good.
50s.
And I tell you what, you could tell you are living your best life. I mean, you just radiate joy, honestly.
Baby, let
Yes.
me tell you something, and I'm living it up, and I am bigging myself up for this because when you learn my journey, you will understand why I am so passionate right now and why I appreciate every day and every blessing. It's been a long, hard road. And so,
Mm.
yeah, I am beyond grateful and yes, very joyful right now.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will get more into your story and what led up to you creating your channel and all of that good stuff. Real quick, I want to get a little bit more background on you. So, we already know where you're from. You're from Jamaica. How long did you live there, Winsome?
I migrated to the United States at the age of 27. And I came with the idea that I wanted to develop a relationship with my father, whom I had not met until I was 19. And he was living here and I was still in Jamaica. That plus I had a love for interior design and, started doing business back home. So I wanted to come and go to school here. And so that's what brought me to the United States at the age of 27. So I've been here like about 30, like just over 30 years now.
Gotcha. And was there a particular school you had your sights set on?
I did not know what school, but after I got here and looked around, I went to the New York School of Interior Design and started there, and then transferred over to Bay Path College in Massachusetts. And I still
Gotcha.
haven't finished, girl. I still have not. My life has taken so many twists and turns. I can't wait for the
And
new.
we'll get into that too if as much as you're comfortable sharing, right? So, did you get to work in that field then? You know how some people go to school for a thing, but then they kind of take a different turn?
That's a good question. Yes, as a matter of fact, it's only been up to a couple years now since I transitioned out of that field. I was a designer for many, many years. Designer working in furniture stores, as a designer working in the furniture store in sales. So yeah, so most of my working life, that's what I did, interior design.
Gotcha.
But
And you said you've since.
it's no longer my passion. I still have interest, but it's no longer a passion. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, was there something that happened that kind of made you change course? Did you have an experience that kind of shifted your focus to something else?
Hmm. Well, actually, even while I was still a designer, I had started the Outspoken magazine for survivors of trauma, right? And I happened to be a survivor of numerous traumas. And so starting that magazine connected me to my actual first love, which is writing, and then advocacy. So, so I did the magazine, then went back to designing, and then coming out of designing, I wanted to not no longer be tied to a store or a building for work. I wanted to be on the road, and I wanted to be a sales rep also for many years. And I applied for a job which I had no experience for, but I went ahead and applied for it anyway. I had made a list of what I wanted in a job now, and I got those things that I was looking for, the salary that I wanted, the conditions that I wanted, and this job has been an amazing blessing. But I cannot wait to get out of it and to be doing my own thing.
I hear you.
100%.
Awesome. Well, I have a question for you because you hear sometimes about in different industries, there may be certain biases or preferences, prejudices, if you will, depending on your age. So I'm not sure at what age you started working in design, but did you find that as you got further along in age, were you treated differently, whether positive or negative in that
No,
industry? Okay.
no. And in that industry, there are a lot of older people that are well respected in that industry. So no, that was never an issue at all.
Gotcha. So it's always been the exact same, as far as how people, okay. Okay, that's good to know because one of the questions that I have here for you, and I'm curious from a cultural perspective, how is aging viewed in Jamaica? And is it different from how it's viewed here in the US? I would imagine it is, but I will let you speak to that.
As far as I know, I'll talk about it as far as I know. Jamaica copies everything America does. Right? Yes, everything America does.
Interesting.
Jamaica thinks that they're the 52nd state, right? And so, but the one thing I think that they have not subscribed yet to the hysteria of around aging as it is in America. So
Okay.
I think when it comes to aging, the saying Jamaica no problem is, at least in this instance, true. I don't think Jamaicans are as concerned with aging as we are in America. And I think they're just more concerned with surviving day to day. And
Okay.
but we do have a saying in Jamaica, all but me not cold, which means I might be getting older, but I still got it. So you do have
Oh, I
those
love
people
that.
you still have those people who are up in age that are gonna wear their shorts and they're gonna go to the dance hall and they're gonna do their whining and stuff and stuff. But for the most
Yeah.
part, Jamaicans are not, they're not crazy about desperate about getting old.
Gotcha. So they don't worry about ageism. That's not something they deal with over there, where people are kind of looked down upon as they're getting maybe seen as a little less, I don't want to say valuable, but
Yeah.
how it seems like, and I think it's shifting though. I think is the focus is more inclusive,
Hmm.
right? But it
Hmm.
does still seem like American society has a lot of it gives a lot of attention to like the younger
Right.
generations.
Right.
So you don't have that in Jamaica.
And that's too bad because they say youth is wasted on the young. Now, I'm sure that there's
Mm,
a little bit of ageism that exists in Jamaica. I'm sure it exists everywhere. But I would not say that that is like one of our major problems at all.
gotcha. And it doesn't matter whether it's a man or a woman.
Mm-mm.
Because here's the thing that you notice here in the US is that as men get older, they're more revered. They're seen as maybe more stable. And some people even say that men, as they get older, they get more attractive, right?
I
But
think
then
so.
it's a right. But then it's viewed differently here in the US as women get older. In a lot of cases, it's like the attractiveness, I guess, if you had to rate it, kind of goes down as women get older. And I'm saying just from a societal standpoint,
Yeah.
does that happen in Jamaica too? Or
I think I, you know, And I'll speak from the perspective where I have sisters in Jamaica that keep themselves up very well,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they're advancing in age also, but they, I don't see where they are looked upon as less attractive because they're older. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yeah,
Right.
I just don't think that the age thing is. There are actually know some people where with older younger men with older women, and they're doing very well. They're doing fine. So yeah, the age thing is not a big issue. Down.
Wow. So that's interesting because I mean, you hear about the younger man, older woman here. Would you say it's
If
more
I go
common
home
there
right
than it is
now,
here?
if I go home right now, I guarantee you most of the men that would be catcalling me are much younger than I am.
Wow. And how do you feel about that?
I I don't care for younger men. I've
Okay.
never no. So I cannot see myself with someone younger. I've
Okay.
always
Okay.
preferred a much older man. Mhm.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And I can relate to that too because I was having a conversation with a lady that I went to dinner with, and her husband had been married for like 20 years. And I was telling her, I was like, thank God, that you guys, and they're happy, right? Because that's important. But I was like, if you had to be out in these streets in today's time, it's kind of rough. And she was like, oh, well, have you considered dating younger men? And I said, absolutely not.
No.
I mean, is it at least not at this point, right? I haven't gotten there.
Mm-mm. And there are a lot
Yeah.
of women about my age who do prefer younger men, but they're looking for something else. You know, I'm not looking for working body parts and all that kind of stuff. The reason I say that is because I just got on a dating site again, and the
Oh,
guy reached out to me, and he was all about how all his body parts work and don't let age turn you off. I'm like, I
that's
don't
so
care
crazy
about
how they
your body
lead with that
parts.
kind of stuff.
I
Yeah.
know, clueless. Clueless. I could care less if your body part. Are you a good person?
Right. Right. Okay, so let me ask you this then. So you said that over in Jamaica, ageism really isn't a thing. You migrated here to the US and you said as you started getting older, so when you hit, was it at 50 you kind of started feeling a way about it, or did you say 55, 54,
55 freaked me out.
55?
Yeah, 55 freaked me out. It did.
Now,
And that was like a couple of years ago.
do you think your perspective would have been different had you continued living in Jamaica?
That's such a good question. I I really don't have a frame of reference for that. I really don't. I cannot say. I don't know.
Gotcha. And your sisters, were they excited? I don't know if they're older or younger than
They're
you.
younger.
Oh, they're younger.
They're
Okay.
younger.
Okay.
Hmm.
Gotcha. And do they ever talk about, I don't know what their ages are, but do they ever talk about, oh, I'm getting up in age and so on and so forth? Do they ever?
They talk about their pains. One
Okay.
of my sisters just this week, she was saying, she's very busy and everything. And she was saying she's okay except for the pains. I'm like, what kind of pains? Arthritis. I said, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
My other
The
sister
little snap,
who's younger,
crackle, pop sounds and all that stuff.
huh? Sorry.
How but I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes you hear like a little crack
Of
every now and
course.
then. You gotta move something.
Of course. It's frightening. It is frightening. Every time I sit down and get up, I have to steady myself,
Right.
before I
Right.
move off because, yeah. Yeah, but
Mm-mm-mm.
I do have another younger sister she's very much into her appearance and stuff, and she is more conscious than the others of us about aging. Yeah. But
Gotcha.
she's,
Gotcha.
she's not like fighting tooth and nail. She's just conscious.
And so she's probably taking measures to stay healthy and,
Maybe
do
you
different
can't,
things to.
when you see her step out of that gate, you can't tell she ain't in her 20s.
Wow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow.
She
Love
can
that.
use, she can
Love that.
use
Now,
like, mm-hmm.
Now, I do want to get into because you mentioned that you're an advocate for adult survivors of childhood trauma and self-empowerment mentor. The people you interact with, are they 50 and above? Do you see people that are 50 and above? Because I think what happens sometimes is there might be this assumption that as you get older, certainly by the time you reach a certain age, you may have taken care of or worked through certain traumas, different issues, and things like that. I think that's what a lot of younger people think.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure different, right? Some people carry things into their much later in life, right? Without having dealt with it.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Especially sexual childhood trauma. That's stuff that's really hard to work through. And unfortunately, a lot of us do not go and seek help to work through these things, right? So they come through in our personalities and in the way that we interact with each other. And so, yeah, a lot of the people I come across have not done work to heal from that kind of trauma, even in their 50s. So I open up my program, my work to include people way up in their 70s, because you
Oh,
can get
wow.
up to that age and still be suffering, right? And this is one
Gotcha.
of the reasons why I am now focused on self-esteem, because that trauma unworked through leads to terrible self-esteem, and which is a killer of our dreams. So yeah.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? I feel like I probably need to back up a little bit because I didn't ask you how you moved into that line of work, from interior design and then writing. I know you said that creating, let's see, what was it, Outspoken magazine, that's when you started writing. How did you get into, did the advocacy come as part of you creating the magazine and writing? Was it something that was kind of simultaneous, or did it come as a result of that, or how did you get into that?
Man, you're asking some
I'm
interesting,
curious.
visiting periods of my life that I hadn't even thought about in years. So like, oh my gosh. You asked me how did I get into this work?
Right.
Well, I am a very multi-talented individual. And I want to big myself up for even saying that, because there was a time I
Yes.
didn't recognize my value and everything. So while I think I started the magazine and this work when I had a moment of breakthrough myself. Yes, I remember this now. I had a breakthrough, and this was something, I guess this was between me and God, because I had not been doing any work with any professionals about this, but it just hit me one day. You are a survivor of incest. You are a survivor of childhood trauma, all kinds of trauma. You are a survivor of sexual assault. You are a survivor of domestic violence. You've suffered all these things. You are a survivor of all of this stuff. And you've been carrying and holding this stuff within yourself all this time, unable to navigate life. And now, what are you going to do with it? And I remember feeling like I need to get this out of me. I need to tell my story, but I was afraid and I was ashamed because I thought, a survivor of incest, people are going to think I'm dirty and I'm nasty, right? And but for some reason, I was compelled to write about it anyway. So I started. Then it started as a newsletter, and then it grew into a magazine. So I started doing work on myself, telling my story, and then creating a platform for other people to tell their stories when I realized that I was not alone. When I started sharing my story, so many people started coming out with their stories. And then I realized that we needed um, just a vehicle to be able to share these stories and to shed some light, because when I started that work too, nobody wanted to talk about that stuff, right? It was always hush hush, under the being swept under the rug. And so when I started the magazine for survivors, people were like, what, a magazine for adult survivors of child? So that's how the work started. And even when I put that magazine down, I still, on some level, continued the work, still um, did some writing and still continued to work on myself. And then, so now I'm at a place where, okay, I've done the work to shed light on the situation where we can talk about it. Now let's focus on some deep healing. So that brings me to um, big up yourself.
I love that. And Winsome, so where were you at in your were you middle aged when you started doing this work, or were you already over the age of 50?
No,
At
no, no,
what
no.
point did
I started this work in, I remember exactly, November of 2008.
okay.
2008. How old was I then? I was in my 30s. I was in my, could it have been that long? Oh my gosh, that's been a long time.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And would
Yeah,
you say it's a process where you continue that work, right? It's not
absolutely.
completed yet. You're still
Yeah, because even though I put the magazine down after publishing it for 5, 6 years, um, I I never completed the work. I never thought it was a work that was completed. I always felt like there was more for me to offer, and there is more support for those people, because there's still a lot of people suffering from this stuff. And unfortunately, it still continues to happen a lot more than we admit. So, yeah. So now I'm at a place where I've done some good healing, and it's time to like go deeper, take it to another level.
got you. You know, I'm curious because, I just kind of started looking at middle age, midlife, and I was wondering why I've been feeling like stripping off certain things that I've been either doing or carrying with me. And I feel like as you get older, you kind of give yourself the permission to start doing things like that. When you have your clients or the people that you worked with that are 50 and above, do you is it usually a trigger that they finally felt like they were at a place to where they could address the traumas, because they're older? I think you kind of start to care less and less about what people think, right, as you get
True,
older.
true,
is,
true,
is so in your
true.
conversations with people, is it is it something that has to do with, I'm later in life, so I need to go ahead and deal with this?
No, I don't think that people's ages factor as much. I
Oh,
think people get triggered when they, age or not, when they happen to be at a point where something is said or something comes across their radar that resonates with them, and they figure, oh, I think I need to deal with this. regardless of the age. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it just so happens, though, that it happens a lot when we're older because it takes us that long to get to a place where we begin to do work. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that one, Some. I really appreciate it because I've shared on my channel how I'm still working through, certain childhood traumas. I shared that on the live stream with you. And so I think it's refreshing when you hear about people that are later along in life, it's never too late to try to go back and reclaim those things that may have been taken from you or that may have hindered you
Now you
from doing
said
the
it.
things that you wanted to do,
You
right?
spoke, you just said exactly where I am. This is exactly where I am in my life, where I am consciously and intentionally taking back those things that were stolen from me back in my
Yes.
younger age. That's the phase of life that I am in right now, to the point where, as an example, I am in school, right? Um, Pursuing an associate's degree. And when I'm done with that, I will go on to getting a bachelor's degree. And it's important to me not get completing my education, not for the use of gaining a job, right?
Okay.
But because I dropped out of school in grade 9 because I was raped and became pregnant. And then they punished me by kicking me out of school as if it was my fault, right? So I was always traumatized by that and hurt that I did not get to think, because I love school and I had dreams for myself regarding my education. So it was very traumatizing to have that taken from me. And so what I'm doing for myself right now is putting myself through school to repair that part of my life that was so devastated.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow, Winsome. I commend you. I commend you for that. Yeah, go back and get all your stuff.
all my stuff,
All
girl,
of it.
all of it, all
Yes.
of it.
I'm
I'm
going to
telling
get
you,
all my stuff too.
all the things I'm doing right now in my life are things that should have happened in my 20s, 30s, 40s. But I'm doing them now because
Yes.
I did have an original vision for my life ever since I was a little girl. I had a vision for my life, which I believe God gave me. But because of all these traumas and missteps and everything, all of that got derailed, right? So now I'm going back to the original me. I am living
Love that.
the original me right now. And that's what I also want to help people to do. Mhm.
That is awesome. Winsome, I tell you what, I'm getting a little emotional, but I'm not going to break down because you know me. But to hear you share your story and to hear the conviction in your voice that you are bound and determined, and not only that, you're wanting to bring people along with you and
Mhm.
encourage them.
Mhm.
And I love that. And I think this is the perfect segue into talking about your channel. Big up, am I saying it right? Big Up Yourself.
Big up yourself. Yes, yes.
Big Up Yourself. And your channel was called something before.
It was Power Up Your Dream. it
Power
was,
Up Your
and
Dream.
before
Okay.
that, it was something else. It took me a while to land on what I wanted my message to
That's
be.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I have found it now. And what I want to do with the channel is to help repair our self esteem, because having come through so many traumas and stuff in our lives. Oh, what's going on my screen? Yeah. That kind of stuff tears away at who we are at our core, the very essence of who we are, right? So we lose our sense of self and we lose our sense of power and strength. And so low self esteem is a roadblock to realizing our dreams. It's a stumbling block on the way to the future that we want. So, how can we build up ourselves? One of the ways we can do that is to recognize those accomplishments that we have made, right? To celebrate ourselves for even surviving, right? For giving ourselves credit for the things that we do every day, to
Yes,
embrace the
absolutely.
original in us, who we were meant to be. So, and then to share our gifts and talents with the world, and not to hide them away, and not to hide our story, because your story, you never know who it's going to help. Your story is not
Absolutely.
even just for you, it's for
Right.
somebody else that's going to hear it. So come, and not, when I say pick up yourself, some people may feel uncomfortable about praising themselves. And who told you that you shouldn't praise yourself?
I was going to ask you about that, Winsome, because I know you're interviewing other people.
Mhm.
And I was curious to know, are there some people who maybe push back a little bit, or they don't feel comfortable coming on and talking about their accomplishments because maybe they feel like, oh, well, that's not being humble,
Right.
or what, for whatever reason. Do you ever run into that?
Yes, 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 yes. I just a couple of days ago, I mentioned the show, what the show was about, and somebody said, and I said, big up ourselves, and somebody said, um, and each other. See, there we go. Why are we
Mhm.
taking the spotlight off of ourselves? Why are we taking value from ourselves? We're so quick to elevate somebody else. Why can't we elevate our own selves? Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. While I was doing that work years ago, a therapist friend of mine, she said to me, you pour so much into others. You kind of need to be pouring some of that into yourself.
Mm.
It didn't connect. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I still didn't get it for years and years and years. And then I was in therapy with a therapist, and I was doing an exercise. And at the end of the exercise, when I read him my results, he said, everything that you have stated here is others centered. There is nothing about you and
Mm.
your accomplishments and your value. Why are you're valuing everybody else and not yourself? We've been taught that it's conceited to take um, to celebrate ourselves, to take credit for the good things.
Mhm.
And what? How do you honor God? By hiding yourself,
Mhm.
by pretending that you're not valuable.
That's
You know.
good.
So yeah.
Yes.
So this thing about celebrating yourself or bigging up yourself, it, it also helps to prepare you for when life comes at you with those headwinds, right? When you remember
Right.
that, oh my gosh, I came through this before, I can go through this will not knock me down, you know.
Yes.
And then we have gifts and talents that we owe to the rest of the world. So
Absolutely.
why don't we come and share them? Why do we hide them, right? Hmm.
Right. And it's interesting because, for those of us that have had some involvement in the church growing up, what's that song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it
Yeah,
shine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we're kind
Yeah.
of we're kind of taught that lesson as little kids, but then as you get up in age, it's kind of like, oh, well, you don't want to toot your own horn too much or whatever. That kind of gets, kind of overshadowed, I think.
Yeah. And why shouldn't
Hmm.
you? Why shouldn't you?
Right.
All that goodness and power that God put
Hmm.
inside of you, why shouldn't you let that shine? Why should
Right.
you honor him with who he made? He made something incredible and amazing. Why are you going to hide
Mhm.
that from the world? Why are you going to sit around and wait for somebody to big you up before you big up yourself? Why is it so easy for
Absolutely.
you to big up somebody and not yourself?
Yes. You know, Winsome, you remind me of, well, quite a few people that I know, but this one woman in particular, every post she puts out on Facebook, she's celebrating her children. She's celebrating her sister or her sister's kids or her husband, but there's never anything about her where she's celebrating herself. And I think it's because she's kind of like the superwoman. She
Yes.
runs around with a cape, solving everybody's problems and things like that. And it landed her in the hospital years and years ago,
See?
right? But she's still, yeah, but she's still, running around with the cape and everything. And I told her, I almost said her name. I said, I noticed that every time you put a post out on Facebook, it's always about your kids, it's always your husband, it's always, why not celebrate you? You just got
Yes.
a promotion at work. You stood up to this toxic boss. Why are you talking about
Exactly.
that kind of stuff? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? But I think for
Exactly.
her, but you know what? She said that she's kind of on autopilot where she's just running and getting things done. And she's not really looking at, oh, wow, I've come so far, right? She's not looking at her accomplishments. She told me that the accomplishments that her children are making is because of her. So that's how she looks at it,
That's how
right?
she validates it. Now, see,
Mm-hmm.
also, I created a group on Facebook for us to go
Yes.
and
Yes.
share, brag about ourselves, right? And
Mm-hmm.
share
Mm-hmm.
our accomplishments. And I meant for every day for us to post something. I mean,
Yes.
something as simple as, oh my God, I remember the days when I couldn't get out of bed to even make it
Mm.
to a job. So if you find that you made it out of bed today to make it to work and you
Yes.
brave traffic and you got kids off to school and you put your shoes on and you made it to work, that's something to brag about. That's something to big yourself up about. Post that. That's
Yes.
that's that's quite an accomplishment. You could have stayed in the bed.
That is so true. That is so true. And is your Facebook group, is it public or is it private?
It's
Can
public.
anybody?
It's public.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's just big up
So,
yourself, celebrating the original you.
and
Yeah.
I'll put all of your socials down in the description box too. I know we're getting a little short on time here. We have a few minutes remaining, but Winsome, I really do adore the fact that you and I have gotten connected because I love that you are positive. I mean, your channel, I don't know if I know of any other YouTube channels out there where people are going out and being interviewed and celebrating their success. They might exist, but I don't know any of them. So for me, this is kind of like a new channel of its kind. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to encourage people to go out. Again, I'm going to put a link to Winsome's channel down in my description box and go and watch some of her videos. I think you have, what is it, 3 videos so far? You want to talk about
Yes.
the folks that you want
Yes.
to talk about the people you've interviewed so
Oh, the
far? And they're
first
not
one was
all
you.
lives, right?
Huh? They're
They're
not
not
all
all
lives. They're
lives.
not all
Okay.
lives. I would have liked them to be lives all, but people's schedules are, people are
Yeah.
busy. So I have to catch them where I can. But
Okay.
yours was, oh my gosh, that was the perfect opening interview for the
Oh,
channel.
thank you.
Perfect. It was perfect. And then I had a woman who is a chef. She's a Jamaican chef. And I was excited to talk to her because she has cooked for Luther Vandross and Queen Elizabeth and all the entertainers and leaders of the world and stuff. So I had her on. And then I had Vermela, who bought land in Rwanda. And then I'm going to have a woman who's going to come on. I forgot to say this yesterday on Stephanie's channel. A woman who sells beautiful head wraps, and she's
Oh,
gonna
you
come
told
on
me.
live and teach us how to do some of those head wraps. So she's
Nice.
on in the middle of the month, around the 16th or something like that. So I would
Okay.
invite y'all. Email me my email. You'll have my email,
Yes.
bigupyourself.com. And
Mhm.
if you would like to be part of that class.
Wonderful. So is it going to be a closed live then? Or so you said email if you want to be a part of that class?
Yes, I
Are
can
you
still sign up some
okay.
people to be a part of the class. Yeah. I
Oh,
invited
wow.
out
Okay.
4 or 5 people to join me in that class because she'll be
Got
teaching
you.
live how to do the head wraps. And there will be a
Okay.
giveaway. There will be a gift certificate for one of those head wraps. So come and claim you a head wrap. They're beautiful.
Awesome. And is it scheduled already, Winsome? Are you gonna?
Yes, it's the 16th, I think. That's
Okay.
Sunday, a couple weeks from now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'll take a look so I can set a reminder so I don't
yes,
miss that one.
yeah. I'd love
Cool.
for you to come.
I will. I'll be there for sure. Well, Winsome, I thank you so much for joining us. I'm taking a look to see if there are any questions. I see a lot of comments and compliments. And so let's see what we have here. We have
Big up,
Jamaican
Winnie.
and Zambia. Big up, Winnie. Love that.
That's so
Love that.
cool.
And then we have, let's see, Teresa said, yes, I agree with the men versus women aging in the US. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a thing here. Definitely. And let's see, Teresa, you said you would rather they not leave with working.
You're so
I think
right.
it's a good selling point. You know what I mean?
You're so right.
Let's see, Cece, hello, new here. Welcome, Cece. So good to have you. Let's see, Ravina, we love younger men. Okay. All right, Ravina.
Okay. That's
Let's
okay.
see. Let me read these before I just pop them up on the screen. Let's see, Ravina, love these questions. Love this. Thank you so much for that, Ravina. And Ravina has been a long time subscriber. I know she
Oh,
likes to cut
really?
up. She
Oh,
loves to cut up. Oh, yes.
she likes
Oh,
to cut up.
yes. Ravina, I was not expecting this, but I'm listening. Awesome. And let's see, this is a great conversation. Let's see, proud of you, Winsome. Such a beautiful story.
Thank you,
Yes,
Teresa.
yes, and thank you for your transparency, Winsome. You know, it's not easy to get up and share your story. I mean, I guess for some people it is, but it's very personal, right? You're being vulnerable
Yeah,
when you're doing that.
yeah.
Linda L said, Winsome, go back and get all of yours. It's yours. That's right. That's right. LXNC, hi, welcome. Great live. L has been with me for a while too. So,
Oh,
it's so good to see you. So good to see you. Okay, I think I got through everything. If anyone has any questions, if you want to pop them in the live real quick, we have a couple minutes remaining. I told Winsome that I wasn't gonna keep her too long. You know, I want to be respectful of her time. It's Sunday late in the day, so if anybody has any questions, if you want to pop those in there. Again, I'll have all of Winsome's socials. If you want to contact her, I'll have that information in the description box as well. All right, Ravina. Well, any final words that you want to impart upon the folks that are on the live stream and then the folks that are going to watch the replay, because I will have the replay available.
don't hide yourself. Do not hide yourself and don't hesitate to give yourself credit for those things that you deserve credit for. You deserve it, right? And don't wait for anybody to celebrate you. Celebrate yourself.
Absolutely. Love that. Love you. Thank you so much, Winsome. I appreciate you for being on the live again. And all of you as well. Thank you so much for always supporting and interacting. If you want to go back and rewatch, like I said, the replay is going to be available. All right, Winsome. Well, if you can hang out with me for just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and end the live. And everybody, I will see you all in the next one. Y'all take care, all right? All righty. Bye-bye.